Welcome to the Lion's Share podcast, where we break down today's most impactful research and bring fresh insights from the academic frontier straight to you.
Look around you, scroll through any social feed, and it's impossible to miss them, right? Online influencers.
They're everywhere.
Exactly. From folks with millions of followers to, like, super niche experts, they are shaping trends, conversations, and brands. Wow. They are pouring billions into this space, hoping to tap into that, digital magic.
It's a huge amount.
Yeah. It feels like everyone's talking about online influencer marketing, OIM. But do we really get how it works? Like, what are the actual mechanics beyond the glossy images? Okay, let's unpack this.
Indeed. And it's a phenomenon that really benefits from a more rigorous look, an academic look, moving beyond just, surface level stuff.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving into a really interesting paper. It's by Lumen, Groh, and Paul Matier from 2022 called Online Influencer Marketing.
Okay.
And this research, it sort of cuts through the noise. It gives us a clear definition of OIM, reveals its core mechanisms, highlights the opportunities.
Which sound big.
Oh, yeah. But also uncovers the very real challenges it creates. And, maybe most importantly, suggests how companies can actually manage it effectively. It shifts us from, just stories to a structured understanding.
I like that, cutting through the hype. Because it does feel like everyone's sort of guessing how this works. So how did they even start? I mean, how did the paper tackle such a huge, often anecdotal topic?
Well, they started with a pretty fundamental question. How do we gain a proper and adequate understanding of OIM's real scope, its effectiveness, and its potential threats?
Right.
And what's really cool, I think, is their approach. They didn't just sit in an ivory tower. They used what they call a theories in use approach.
Theories in use.
Yeah, basically means they went straight to the source. They did these in-depth interviews with 20 practitioners, people actually doing this stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, from a really diverse range of industries, sportswear, cosmetics, food products, you name it.
Okay.
And then they back that up with a qualitative survey of 58 consumers to get their direct perspective, too.
So talking to the brands and the people seeing the ads.
Exactly. That blend of industry practice and consumer insight, it gives the whole thing a really solid grounding.
That practical input feels so important here. So, okay, based on those real-world insights, how does the paper formally define online influencer marketing? What is it, according to them?
Right. So they provide a very precise definition. They say online influencer marketing, OIM, is, and I'm quoting here, a strategy in which a firm selects and incentivizes online influencers to engage their followers on social media.
Selects and incentivizes.
Okay. In an attempt to leverage these influencers' unique resources to promote the firm's offerings with the ultimate goal of enhancing firm performance. So at its core, it's a deliberate strategy. Brands intentionally choose and, pay individuals.
Right, pay. That's key.
To promote their products through their established social media audiences. It's planned, it's commercially driven, it's not just happening by accident.
That definition, though, it immediately makes me think, if it's planned, how is it really different from other marketing stuff we already know?
Good question.
Like, it sounds maybe a bit like a celebrity endorsement.
Oh.
Or just a really good customer review, or even, viral marketing. What makes OIM its own thing?
That's a crucial distinction the paper really hammers home. It points out 3 unique essential characteristics that set OIM apart.
Okay, what are they?
First, firms select and incentivize online influencers. This isn't spontaneous word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's not a customer just loving your product and telling friends organically.
Right.
And it's not like those seeding campaigns either where maybe you send out free stuff hoping for reviews, but there's no obligation to promote.
Ah, okay.
With OIM, there's a clear agreement, often financial. It requires the influencer to actually create and share content.
Got it. Incentive and selection. What's second?
Second, influencers engage their followers for commercial purposes. Now, brands engage directly on social media all the time, obviously. But OIM specifically empowers the influencers to do this. With the goal of boosting awareness or sales or brand attitudes, it aims for, deep audience engagement.
Deeper than just seeing an ad.
Yeah, deeper than, say, a static product placement in a movie, or maybe native advertising that just sort of blends into the background.
Yep.
OIM wants interaction.
Okay. And the third thing?
And third, and this is really critical, firms leverage influencers' unique resources.
Unique resources? Wait.
We're talking about their follower networks, obviously, but also their distinct personal positioning, the actual content they create, and crucially, the trust they've built with their audience.
Ah, trust. That feels big.
It is, and this is where it differs massively from, say, a traditional celebrity endorsement. Think George Clooney for Nespresso. The firm controls everything, every word.
Right. Totally scripted.
Exactly. But OIM requires firms to relinquish substantial control to the influencer, someone like Chiara Ferragni promoting fashion. She'd have way more creative freedom.
So the brand has to let go a bit.
They have to. And this element, this giving up control, it's both a major strength. It allows for that authenticity everyone craves, but as we'll get into, it's also a significant risk.
That's fascinating. That blend of reach, authenticity, and giving up control. That's the potent mix. But it makes me wonder, what does this handing over the reins really signal about where marketing's going? Is it like an admission that brands can't just talk for themselves anymore?
Well, it definitely highlights a shift, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A shift in power dynamics. Brands are seeing that people, consumers, they trust peers and these, authentic voices much more than direct corporate messages.
Makes sense.
So by giving up some control, they're essentially trying to buy into the influencer's credibility. It's a calculated risk, really, betting that the authenticity, the engagement an influencer brings, that it outweighs the potential for the message going a bit, off-brand.
So it suggests marketing is moving from just telling people things to showing them through voices they already trust.
Precisely. Showing, demonstrating, recommending through trusted intermediaries.
Okay, so if we're talking about leveraging these unique resources and tapping into trust, what's the sort of academic framework the paper uses? How does it explain how this all works? You mentioned social capital theory. Why that one?
Yeah, they draw heavily on social capital theory, which essentially it's about how valuable resources, things like information, support, opportunities, can be accessed and mobilized through a person's network of relationships.
So the value in your connections.
Kind of, yeah. Think of it as the value embedded in your social connections. In RIM, firms are basically tapping into an influencer's social capital, that whole reservoir of trust, connections, shared understanding they've built up with their audience.
Okay.
It explains how influencers get access to information, how they build that crucial trust with followers, foster shared norms, that kind of thing. So the paper views OIM as a form of crowdsourcing influencer resources.
Crowdsourcing resources. Interesting way to put it.
Yeah, it's a way for firms to get access to these valuable pools of social capital to make their marketing communications more effective.
Okay, that clarifies the how. Now let's get to the good stuff. Here's where it gets really interesting. What are the big advantages? What are the main benefits firms can expect from doing OIM, according to this paper?
Right. The paper lays out 4 key benefits. First up, targeting benefits.
Targeting, like reaching the right people.
Exactly. But it's twofold. First, influencers naturally attract a really focused, what the paper calls homogenous group of followers.
Homogenous meaning similar.
Yeah, people who are very similar in their interests, like the example of Mr. Bags, huge following among luxury handbag lovers, or Lucille Lee for simple dinner recipes.
So super niche audiences.
Right, which means firms can reach highly relevant kind of pre-segmented audiences without doing all that segmentation work themselves. One practitioner from sportswear mentioned how they pick influencers with a fashionable and healthy image because their fans have similar characteristics.
Makes sense. Saves effort.
And the second part of targeting is what they call segment dynamism.
Segment dynamism.
It means consumers are constantly following and unfollowing influencers based on what they're into right now, their current needs.
So the audience changes over time.
Precisely. Which allows firms to reach these dynamically shifting segments. The paper quotes the founder of a baby care brand.
Oh, yeah.
Who said, basically, we need new customers because kids outgrow our stuff. Working with influencers helps because their followers change. It's like having this ever-evolving, self-selecting audience.
Wow, that's clever. Okay, so targeting benefits. What's next?
Second major benefit, positioning benefits. Firms can leverage an influencer's established personal brand, their image, their reputation, to shape or boost their own brand image.
So borrowing their cool.
Kind of. Think about Zara's #IamDenim campaign with Tish Rosa. It gave off this accessible, relatable vibe. An apparel practitioner said they work with edgy, cool fashion influencers to get a cool girl image.
Okay.
And what's more, because influencers are constantly talking with their audience, seeing likes, comments, shares, their positioning has high feedback reflectivity.
Feedback reflectivity, Means they know what works.
Exactly. They see immediate reactions, so they, and the brand through them, can quickly figure out what resonates and adjust the message almost instantly. It's very adaptive.
Instant feedback loop. Nice. Okay, benefit number 3.
Third, we have creativity benefits. Influencer-generated content IGC is often really original and relevant.
Because they're not corporate suits?
Huh. Well, yeah, they're independent creators, right? Not bound by corporate processes. So they bring fresh, sometimes unexpected takes. A feminine care brand manager talked about TikTok influencers creating humorous plots in their own dialects, which got millions of views.
Wow. That wouldn't come out of a typical ad agency meeting.
Probably not. And this content is also highly relevant because influencers know their followers. They know their likes, dislikes, inside jokes. They tailor content to really connect. As one consumer said, this online influencer provides a lot of content that suits my taste and meets my needs.
That personal touch. Okay, and the final benefit.
Finally, and maybe the most talked about, trust benefits. Influencers are often perceived as authentic, and they tend to cultivate these communal, almost friendship-like relationships with followers.
More trustworthy than a regular ad.
That's the perception, yeah. It contrasts sharply with traditional advertising. A sportswear marketing director said, everyone knows that traditional advertising is just advertising. But recommendations made by influencers feel more self-motivated, real, and trustworthy.
And consumers feel that closeness.
Apparently so. One consumer shared, influencers are not distant from their followers, we feel very close to them, highlighting that community feel.
It's really impressive how OIM can hit so many targets for a brand. Targeting, positioning, creativity, trust. But, there have to be downsides, right? With great power
Comes great potential for things to go sideways.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are the risks? What potential pitfalls do firms need to watch out for?
You're right to ask. The paper identifies 2 significant threats. The first one is the content control threat.
Control because they give it up.
Precisely. This threat comes from what the paper calls content incongruence, fancy term for.
Things not matching up.
Exactly. A clash or dissonance between what the influencer puts out and the firm's official brand messages or image. When you give up that creative control, you might end up with thousands of slightly different messages floating around.
Which could be confusing.
Definitely confusing. As one CMO of a skincare brand put it, pretty bluntly, if you use 3,500 influencers, then you essentially have 3,500 messages.
Yikes.
It's not just messy branding. It's a real challenge to maintaining a coherent identity when your message is decentralized like that. It's that core tension, the authenticity you want. It can also become your biggest branding headache.
I see. The flip side of creative freedom. Okay, what's the second threat?
The second major one is the customer retention threat.
Retention, meaning keeping customers long-term.
Right. The paper argues that while OIM is great for getting customers in the door acquisition, awareness, first purchase, it's maybe less effective for building that deep, long-term brand loyalty.
Why is that?
Well, the initial trust a consumer places in the influencer doesn't just automatically transfer over to sustained loyalty for the brand itself.
Ah, okay.
Think of it like a really great salesperson. You might trust them, buy something based on their recommendation.
Yeah.
But your long-term loyalty, that's probably more tied to the actual product, the company, the overall experience, not just that one person.
Makes sense.
A consumer in the study said something like, yeah, I'll try it because the influencer recommended it. But whether I buy it again, that depends on lots of other things.
Right. The product has to stand on its own eventually.
Exactly. And a sportswear practitioner agreed, saying converting followers to loyal fans is a long process. It doesn't just happen overnight because an influencer posted.
Those are really important downsides. Content control and customer retention. Highlights the complexity. It's definitely not just pay an influencer and get rich quick.
Not at all. It requires careful management.
So that leads perfectly. If these are the benefits and these are the threats, how do firms manage it effectively? What does the paper suggest for navigating these choppy waters? Maximizing the good stuff, minimizing the bad.
Good question. The paper outlines 4 key management strategies. First, and maybe the most crucial starting point, is influencer selection.
Choosing the right person.
Absolutely. Carefully screening and picking influencers whose audience, personal brand, skills, motivations, even cost, all align perfectly with the firm's specific goals for the campaign.
Getting that fit right seems paramount.
It is. Good selection up front can prevent a lot of that potential content incongruence later on. And it helps ensure the trust the influencer has built is genuinely transferable, or at least relatable, to the brand.
Okay, selection first. What's strategy number 2?
Second, firms need process monitoring. This isn't about micromanaging necessarily.
But keeping an eye on things?
Right. It involves providing clear content briefs, outlining the campaign goals, key messages, what needs to be delivered. An apparel founder mentioned being very careful with how we draft the brief, so influencers don't say things misaligned with the brand.
Makes sense. Setting expectations.
Yeah, and requiring content approval before it goes live is another common monitoring tactic. The aim is to find that balance, keep the content original and relevant, reduce the risk of brand clashes, but without totally stifling the influencer's creativity.
Tricky balance. Okay, third strategy.
Third is performance measurement, and this goes way beyond just counting likes and comments.
Sanity metrics, yeah.
Exactly. Firms need to track a whole range of metrics: reach, engagement, sure, but also sentiment analysis, and crucially, sales conversions, using things like trackable links or unique discount codes.
Things that actually show impact on the bottom line.
Right. But the paper also suggests measuring less tangible things too, like shifts in brand image, or even how influencer collaborations might spark product innovation ideas. A skincare CEO stressed the need to quickly test and experiment, identify influencers whose positioning can bring high ROI, and replicate what works.
So measure everything, learn fast. Got it.
Yeah.
And the last strategy.
And finally, there's content repurposing.
Reusing the content.
Yeah, taking successful influencer-generated content and reusing it on the brand's own marketing channels, like putting it on their website, their official social media, maybe even in paid ads.
Oh, interesting.
For example, an apparel brand could take a great photo, an influencer posted wearing their jeans, and feature it on their online shop page.
So you get more mileage out of it.
Exactly. It amplifies the reach, extends the life of good content, and it sprinkles some of that influencer authenticity onto the brand's own platforms.
That's a really solid framework. Selection, monitoring, measurement, repurposing. It takes OIM from feeling like, I don't know, social media guesswork and grounds it in concrete, actionable strategies. So, okay, wrapping this up. What does this all mean for you listening out there? Whether you're a marketer planning a campaign or just, a regular person scrolling your feed.
Well, I think this deep dive shows us the incredible power of human connection and that perception of authenticity in marketing today. Brands are actively trying to leverage the social capital of individuals to reach us, engage us, persuade us. But it does raise a really interesting question for the future, I think. We're seeing the rise of virtual influencers, right? These AI-generated avatars like Lil McKellar.
Oh, yeah, those are weirdly fascinating.
They are. And they're entirely controlled by firms. So how will these digital beings challenge or maybe even redefine the core ideas of authenticity and communal trust that this paper says are so crucial for OIM?
Can AI be authentic in the same way?
That's the question, isn't it? What will you look for? What will convince you when a virtual influencer tries to sell you something? Will that trust element even be there?
Wow. That's a really provocative thought to end on. It makes you wonder if that relinquished control part, which seems so key with human influencers, is something tech can ever truly replicate in a way that connects with us.
Food for thought.
Definitely gives us a lot to consider, both as consumers and marketers. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the world of online influencer marketing. We hope it's given you a clearer, maybe more critical perspective on this huge force in our digital lives.
Thanks for tuning into the Lion's Share podcast. If you enjoyed today's discussion, share it with a friend and join us next time for more ideas worth talking about. We'll see you next time.